Right, hello everybody and welcome to your letter writing assignment. Now, your assignment, your work today will be posted as an assignment, which means that the way you can access it is in three ways. One is by checking the general chat wall of Teams, and you will see it's been posted this morning. You can just click onto it via that way. Or if you look at the top of your Teams, right where you would find files, which is where you'd find the daily grids, right next to that there's a button called assignments. Okay, you can get into your work through that. Or on the left side of the screen, where you start writing, and where there's all the general chat, the different types of chat, your playground chat, your general chat, you will also find the button assignments. That will take you there too. Now, there's instruction to this also if you need further help in the 30-second guides to Teams as well. It will actually point out, I've done a screenshot, and it'll point out exactly where you can get these. When you get into assignments, there will be two letter writing assignments, one mild and one spicy, and you can choose which one you would like to do. So our learning intention today, so the point of our learning is that we are going to learn to write a letter properly. And your success criteria, so what you need to do to show us that you have understood the learning, is you are going to structure a letter correctly. So you're going to rejig a letter that's all written wrong, and you're going to correct the errors in it. Okay, so let's get started. So what is a letter for? Well, of course, it is for communicating with other people. It's a good way of communication. The purpose of a letter, well, that's going to be different every single time you write a letter or you get a letter. You'll see that some letters are more formal. They might be your bill for your electricity or your phone. They might be trying to sell you things like holidays. Or it could be a bit more informal. It could be a letter from your granny, or it could be a letter from your pen pal. Lots of different purposes for writing a letter. And I know a few of you might be thinking, letter versus email, what's the difference? And what's the point in learning about letters if we can already write in emails? Well, the reason is that there is a difference, and the difference is mainly how a letter is structured, so how it's placed on a page. It looks very different to how an email would be structured, so it is important to learn about. And letters all have common features. There's some certain things, whether they're informal or formal, no matter who they're from, they will always have certain things that look the same on the page. Okay, so it's usually to do with structure or language. So structure. Structure is how a text is organized. For example, how some texts look on a page, and we will look at that. And the other thing that's important is language. Language is how the text is written. Okay, so as I said before, some will use formal language when it's more professional and maybe they don't know you. And the others is going to be more informal, it's going to be more casual. If it's going to be from someone you know, the language is going to be different, very different. Maybe there'd be more questions, lots of description. So what are the features of a letter? Here we have a letter here. We have the address at the top, the date, and it says, "Dear Mr. Johnson, I would like to order some meat for my Jubilee barbecue. I've been told that you will be able to help. Could we have 6 kilograms of beef mince, 10 chicken breasts, 50 sausages, pork and herb is fine, and 2 dozen lamb kebabs? I would like to collect my order on the 30th of May in the morning. I hope that you will be able to provide me with such items at such short notice. Please could you phone me on 241-532 to confirm as soon as possible. Yours sincerely, Mr. Fred Brown." So what's very important here is we'll look at the structure in a second, but look at the language. If you look at this, everything, it's quite a formal language, but everything is very well written. There are no missing full stops, there are no missing capital letters, they've checked over their spelling, and they've checked that the question marks are also in the right order. That is a very important point. For structure, how it looks on the page, you will see that the address is written at the top. Oh, sorry. The address is written at the top. Now, this address is not who you're sending it to, okay? It's Mr. Fred Brown's address. It's going to be your address. If you're writing the letter, it's your address that you need at the top of the page. Why? Well, when you write a letter, the person who you write it to will be on the envelope, so the postman can check and know where the letter goes. But when the person receives that message, they might not be able to respond because they might not have your address. So it's really important that you write your address at the top of a page of any letter you write so that the person who receives the letter knows who to write back to and where to write back. So address is very important. Number 2, date. Write the date just under the address of when you wrote the letter. And that's because sometimes things can get lost in the post. Sometimes things take faster to arrive or slower to arrive. So as soon as the reader reads which date you wrote it on, they know what you're talking about. And maybe some of the things you're talking about in the letter have already happened, or maybe they haven't, but it gives them an idea of the time when you wrote that. So that's very important. All letters will have the date that you wrote it. Greeting. A letter will always start with dear, whoever it's for. If you know the person well, it might be dear, their first name. And if you don't know them as well, you might write dear, their last name. So you write dear George if it's your pal, or dear Mr. Baker if it's not your pal, for example. And if you don't know who they are, you could say dear sir or madam, or you could say dear whomever it may concern. You'll often have an opening, which is just explaining quickly what the letter is all about. And you will have a close, which means you are saying who it's from. And you usually write, to close the letter, you could either write, if it's a good friend or a family member, you can write love from or just from. If you know the person's name, you can write yours sincerely. And if you don't know their name, you can write yours truly. And this is just a way, yours sincerely and yours truly is a very formal way of signing off a letter. Okay, so really important. Let's recap. You need the address, the date, a greeting, so dear whoever, your content, and then you need a close, so the end. And your task today is read the example letters in the team's assignments. There are some features missing. You will need to fix the letter to make sure everything is in the right order. So you can drag and drop the text boxes, or you can print it off and cut them out and glue them in the correct order, or you can write it out in the right order in your jotter. So you need to make sure everything's in the right order, and you will also see that there are some spelling mistakes in the letter. There are also missing capital letters, full stops and question marks. Can you find them and can you correct them? Good luck!